Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we will set up the Java package structure so that it's in line with our architecture diagram, the view folder structure so we can keep all web pages neatly organized, and finally, the file system folder structure so that we can provide the DevOps Buddy application with external configuration at runtime. We completed the last lecture by defining the DevOps Buddy package structure. I wanted to point your attention on a minor modification which consists of moving the front-end domain package under the web package, so that now the package structure reflects exactly what we defined in the architecture diagram. You will find the updated version as a file attached to the previous lecture. To better follow what we are doing to do next, I strongly recommend downloading this file, open it in PowerPoint and keeping it on the side. Also, please pause the video each time you're following a step. To get the most benefit from this course, it's important that you listen to the lecture audios. If you let the video run while you are performing a step, it's likely that you will miss some important concepts. I know this because I've been there myself. So, with the package diagram opened on the side, let's do the following. Let's open the DevOps Buddy project with IntelliJ. If you are using another IDE, I'd suggest executing the git steps from the command line. The project should be currently pointing at the develop branch. If not, check out the develop branch with the command git checkout develop. You can do this either from IntelliJ or from the command line. In this video, I'll show you how to do this from the IDE, as it's more convenient than having to switch between the two all the time. If you are receiving an error or are not sure on how to perform these steps, please revisit the lectures on Git and GitHub. In the bottom left corner of your IDE, you will find a little icon looking like a terminal. If you click on it, a number of options will appear. Select Terminal and an inline command prompt opens up, pointing at your current DevOps Buddy folder. Make sure you are currently in the develop branch. You can see if this is the case by looking at the bottom right of your IDE, as shown in a previous lecture on Git. It should display Git, a colon, and then develop. First, following the Git flow workflow, let's create an architecture feature branch. To do this, from the command prompt, type the following command, git checkout -b architecture. Then, let's push the branch remotely with the command git push -u origin architecture. Your command prompt or your IDE should now point to the architecture branch. Next, let's create the package structure. Before doing so, let's set up IntelliJ so that it displays the package structure even if the folders are empty. From the project navigation section of IntelliJ, click on the settings icon and from the list of options, make sure that the option Compact Empty Middle Packages is unchecked. Now, following our package architecture diagram, let's create all packages we need. Expand the source main Java folder. You should already have the root package com.devopsbuddy appearing as two folders. However, if you don't, right-click on the Java folder and select New Package and enter com. Then, from the newly com package, right-click and repeat the previous step to create the DevOps Buddy package. Now, let's create the following packages: backend, utils, enums, config, exceptions, and web. Under the backend package, let's create the service and persistence packages. Under persistence, let's create the packages repositories, domain, and converters. Finally, under domain, let's create the package backend. Under the web package, let's create the packages controllers, i18n, and domain. Under the controllers package, let's create the advices package. And finally, under the domain package, let's create the frontend package. If you've done everything correctly, you should be able to map the package architecture structure with the package structure of your IDE, and your folder structure should look like the one in the video. Now, let's create the web and resources folder structure. This consists of a number of folders for our static and dynamic files, internationalization, images, SQL scripts, and so on. Expand the source main resources folder and create the following top-level folders: I18N, SQL. The folders static and templates should already be there from the lecture where we set up the IDE. If you can't see them, it means that Spring Boot and Thymeleaf haven't been set up correctly. If this is the case, please revisit the lecture where we set up either Spring STS or IntelliJ for the project. You can also follow along and create these two folders yourself. You can also create the UML folder if you want to store the UML file. I use the program StarUML, and I'll be uploading the UML file to this lecture. However, if you don't use StarUML, you won't be able to view it. This folder is not required for our project, but it could be useful for documentation purposes. Under the static folder, create two folders, CSS and JS. Now for the most important part, which is the folder organization for the project HTML files. Under the templates folder, create the following folders: admin, common, copy, error, payload, registration, and user. The last folder structure we need to create is within the file system. Here is where we will be storing Spring configuration files for various runtime environments, typically development and production. This approach will allow us to run the application in different environments, for example, from your PC during development or on Amazon Web Services for production, without having to change the code. We will see later in the course how to achieve this. The following instructions will work on any X Unix system like Mac or Linux. If you are running on Windows, you might have to choose a different location for your configuration folder. The location can be anything. Later on, we will tell Spring where to find the configuration files. Now, open your command prompt and point to your home directory. You can achieve this by typing the cd command and by pressing enter. If you have followed the lecture on how to set up a Stripe account and followed the same steps I've been showing, you should already have a .devopsbuddy folder with the stripe.properties file in it. If you don't, you can create one with the command makedir.devopsbuddy and you should be revisiting that lecture. That's it! We have now created the Java package structure, the structure for the web views and resources, and finally the external file system structure, where we will be storing the project external configuration. Thank you for your time, and I see you in the next lecture.